Morning guys, Jeff with HKS Systems Lock Safe. Hope you're doing well. So today is the day we're going to run this guy, the Combi Plus, through its paces. We're going to be doing this on a Lagarde. Let me just get that in. Lagarde Lock 3-wheel Group 2. And we're going to be doing this in real time. So what I'm probably going to do, this unit typically takes about 30 minutes to manipulate. So what I'm going to probably do is just do, depending on time, at least 2 or 3 parts. So this will be the first part. So obviously just having it set up is no big deal. That's pretty simplistic. I want to try to get this in frame for you because once I start it, I'm really not going to work on anything on the system. So we're already installed on the system. It's exactly the same setup as the QX3 video. If you wanted to go watch that on my channel, I'm on there as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to the system already has a bunch of presets made, so we're going to load a preset. And I saved a Lagarde one, which already sets my contact points, and 3-wheel, which I know this is a 3-wheel, and it's going to ask for bolt retraction direction, which I know this is right. So what it's going to do basically is start dialing, feel out, and adjust for the variance differences in this safe lock itself. Not necessarily every safe lock, just this one itself. I'm going to really not change anything because, like I said, I've ran this one before, and I'm not going to use any of the things. I'm going to change a little bit here and there, and we're going to start that, and it's going to start manipulation process. It does not dial like a speed dialer, like an auto dialer would. It literally starts to listen for contact points and fine tunes things. So we're starting that. It's going to ask us to move the system to 0, which I'm going to be doing a little bit of a secondary shooting on my cell phone as well. Not a big deal, but just to show you what it's doing. So it's going to ask me to dial into 0, to continue, and all it is asking is to fine tune that 0. You can see how that's moving. So it's going to ask me to dial into 0, to continue, and all it is asking is to fine tune that 0. You can see how that's moving. I don't know if you saw that or not, but yeah, that moves back and forth, just fractional little sections there. So there you go. Now it is on 0. That's pretty close to perfect. So we'll be back. Now we're going to start dialing. And you can see it doesn't necessarily speed dial. It's actually taking indicators at this point. So I'm going to get off the regular phone, and I'm going to go back to the regular camera. So what it's doing here is actually listening to each contact point, fine-tuning them to get the best reading for the microphone system, which is installed at the lever section at the top of it. Okay, so it's fine-tuned its peak ability to hear the contact points. Then it's going to actually, since this one was already saved, I just did it, but you update lock at that point. Then that's your option to update the lock. Now the lock is updated, and we're going to go to wheel testing. And we're going to go clear all of this out first, because we do know what the combination is. Obviously this is just a display. So we're going to go all wheels left. I'm going to park it. You have your positions here. These are the 3 combination numbers, or 4 if there's a 4th. This is showing your search progress. This is showing your test position, left contacts, right contacts. We will discuss this a little bit later. It'll be a little bit further in. So we're going to be doing, we're starting range 0 all the way up to 98 steps. We have a couple of choices in steps here. You could do 1, 2, or 5. I would suggest leave it on 2 because most group combination 2s are going to be acceptable to that. 5, I don't know why you'd use that. 1, yeah, that's maybe if you need to fine-tune something. And you could do all wheels left, all wheels right, or you could just do individual wheel mapping. So I'm going to do all wheels left, and I do know the combination. The combination is 27, 34, 71. So what I'm going to do is just set this, and this is arbitrary. You could set it anywhere you want. I'm going to just set it at 50. Since I know drop-in's basically 98, I'm going to just set it at 50. That way it's going to keep that in the area. Close that. So we change that to 50. So really at this point all we're doing is just we're dialing. Dialing's going to take about 10 minutes each time, so we should get a reading after 10 minutes in this. If you're bored, you can definitely skip closer to the end and see and pick up from there. It's just literally going to be watching this result. So here we go. It's going to ask the continue. We are already zeroed, so I don't need to do anything there. Start dialing. And what it's going to basically be doing the whole time then is graphing the results of left contacts and right contacts. It starts with 0, and then it's going to go up to 98. At the end of it, you'll have all these numbers, and it's looking for a delta value. The delta is basically you want to have that where there's a big change, is where there's probably going to be some kind of either wheel variance or an actual gate. So we will come back once I get that done. I'll show you the results in this page, which is more of a typical graph section that most manipulators would know. So we're going to let this guy run, and I'll be back as soon as it finishes up. And while that's dialing here, I'm back on the phone. I'm just showing you, it's very non-destructive, very soft opening. It's not going to town on the thing like an auto dialer does. It's really just tiny little increments, 2 wheels at a time, 2 numbers at a time, and it's just graphing. So it literally is very low stress on the safe lock, which is a plus. So we'll be back. I'd also like to point out that you can actually watch this in real time. It's 11:27. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's 11:27. We basically started it at about 11:25. It's only been running a few minutes or so. So I am doing this all in real time, so I will show you the results in real time. So you can see this is so far, this is the status of the dialing, and it's pretty quick the way it dials. So we're already at like 36, 34, 36. Depending which direction we're using, left or right, it's going to go either up or down. But yeah, we've only been doing this for maybe 5 minutes at most, and we're already at 36. So pretty fast. Okay, so if you could see the test position, we're at 50 already. We've only been doing that since basically 5 minutes. So it's, like I said, it's about a 10-minute increment for each wheel on a 2-step progression. HKS Systems. Of course, that was my phone, guys. Sorry about that, but you didn't really miss anything. It's literally watching paint dry, so. This does also have a dialing sequence that I could actually dial faster or slower. This is medium, so I figure that's probably the best. I don't know if you're going to gain anything by going slower. I have not truly tried that, so maybe I will try that in the future. But I did dial 2 safes open with it already, at least on my mounts, Sargent and Greenleaf, and this Lagarde, and worked very well. All of them both within an hour. When dialing is done, I will show you the results in this, in both this column and this column. And I'll probably have to change the batteries, and we'll go on to page 2 of the system on how to fine-tune and manipulate. One thing with the Lagarde systems, they do not have truly circular wheels all the time. They may be wheel shadowing, which is basically you can't see a gate because it's behind something that's oblong. So it's really nice you're able to change the park positions on these. So if you do this first test, all the wheels, and you don't see anything, you could try doing all wheels left, which is what I usually do, set it at 50. That's just like my standard thing. Then if I don't see anything, I'll do all wheels right, parked at 50. And if I still don't see anything, then I'm going to change the park position, which is going to go from maybe 25, 50, 75. And then if I don't see anything on those, yeah, then we may even have an issue or something's out of whack. But try left, try right, try your park positions. You will get different indicators. It's just reading basically the roundness of the dial, I'm sorry, of the wheel pack. So you know, sometimes it's better off where you park it. It's going to make a world a day of night. and also left and right sometimes will give you a different reading altogether. So we're just finishing up here. All wheels left, park at 50, and we're at 96, and we'll be done in 2 seconds here. Okay, so we've got all this data here, and all of this is going to show us delta. The delta value here, if you could see that, is basically a reading of the difference between the left contact and right contact. As it changes and gets thinner or wider, it's going to give you a different delta variance. So you could read it off of this one. It's not impossible, but it's much harder for me to read it. So I'm going to go to this page, which is the graph type. So we could start at 0. Well, obviously 2s are dropping, so that's really not a fair thing. So we're really just starting it really on the drop-in, out of the drop-in section. So we're going to go, you do see some variance in here, 28, but really, look at right here. You see it, 34, 35, 36. You see a huge spike here, where they both indicate into the middle. So let's keep going, keep going. And I am doing this all in one real time thing, so that to me is the biggest change that I've seen in here. Yeah, you could see how that's changed from here all the way, then boom, boom. They both go to the center. They both cross this I call it the threshold line, which is basically that standard line right there. So I'm going to say 34 is where I want to start to. And yes, 34 is in that combination. And that's what I would pick. You could pick 32, 34, 36, and then you could actually test it. So I'm going to say 34 is definitely where it's starting. 35 is probably where the sweet spot would be, and 36, but you could only go in 2 increments. So we're going to do 34, and we're going to go to the next page then, which is the dialing, which is going to help us try to figure out what number 34 wheel that is. So, oh, I'm sorry. So we're going to go back here. We're going to highlight 34. Hold that down, and it's going to turn red. So you see I just hit 34, turns red. Now we're going to go to the dialing section, and you could basically change your knockout position, which is going to be the number you add. And all we're going to do basically is just test each one of these wheels, and it's going to give us left and rights on 34s, and we're just taking one wheel off at a time. We're going to see which the biggest variance is in delta, and we're going to apply that then to the combination. So let me start that. Continue. The new system is actually very nice. It seems to automatically return to 0. I don't really, once it's set, I don't really have to change it unless the dialing apparatus slips or something, but so far it's been perfect. I'll take some video on the phone of this as well, so let me cut past that. So all it's doing is dialing nice and slow, and it's taking readings for each one of those wheels, and they're going to knock one of those wheels off to see which one has changed the most. So what it's basically doing is just reading each wheel individually, and it's going to give you a delta, and the most significant delta value increment is going to be the one that's going to change. So you see it's right now 8.8, 8.7, 8.8, and we shall see what comes up. Okay, now we are into the dialing and wheel check position. So basically I just took the 34 from the first home page, and we put it into the box for checking, and I'm going to dial it in increment steps of 1. And it is already zeroed. And what we're doing then is we're looking for the biggest change in the delta values in here. Okay, so we did see a big change right here. You could see 8.7, 8.7, and 8.9. So when I held that down, that turns red. If you want to hold it down again, it'll take it off. So it's going to be hold it down, turns red, and it says right here, you selected wheel number 2, which we do know. That's actually the second combination in there, so that is the true thing. And we're going to apply that to the status. Once we do that, it's applied to status up here, and you're going to go back into the dialing section then. I did change that because I wanted to fine-tune things. Okay, so we're going to apply that now, and we're going to start dialing. I am going to change the battery because I'm just about out, and I'll shut this down for a little bit, and we'll be right back.